To dye or not to dye your own hair has become another dilemma during this pandemic. It does come with risks, and Dr. Sherry Ingraham with Advanced Dermatology is joining me live to talk about some of them. Hi, Dr. Ingraham. Good morning.
Hi, Sally. Good morning.
Well, you say that you've been seeing more and more patients with something that's called irritant contact dermatitis. What is that?
Irritant contact dermatitis can occur to really any chemical. So it can occur to makeup, it can occur to hairspray, it can occur to hair dyes. But I am seeing it more commonly with hair dyes because, including myself, many of us are dyeing our hair at home right now.
And so, what sorts of reactions might you see in somebody who has this condition?
So, with an irritant contact dermatitis, the first thing you want to do is differentiate it from an allergic contact dermatitis. So, an irritant contact dermatitis is an immediate reaction. It's when you put on that hair dye at home, and within moments you feel it burning or itching, or even the next day your scalp starts to flake and burn a little. You can try and prevent an irritant reaction by putting a little Aquaphor Vaseline, or I like CeraVe healing ointment, along your hairline so it doesn't get on your face, cover your ears, but it will manifest as itching and burning. And if that doesn't go away in a day or two, or after you've taken an antihistamine like Benadryl, maybe use some over-the-counter Cordaid, go to your dermatologist. A little more concerning, and something I've seen even more of than an irritant dermatitis, is an allergic contact dermatitis to hair dye.
Okay. And so, are the symptoms different with that then?
They do tend to be. They can start out the same way, but the difference is an allergic contact dermatitis is typically a delayed type hypersensitivity reaction, kind of like poison ivy. You really have had to have dyed your hair before. Do it again. This can develop at any time, and you're developing an allergic reaction because it's something you've been exposed to before. So when you open up these boxes, there's a little piece of paper that most of us don't usually follow, and it says to apply that hair dye to the inside of your arm for 48 hours before you use the dye. And that's to give 48 hours for a true allergic reaction to develop. That's a delayed reaction. If you get a reaction, don't use the dye. And the most common reaction occurs to something called PPD, paraphenylene dyeing, which is in almost every hair dye product. Even if it says natural, it is in there, and that's what really covers up the grays. And so this can manifest a week even after you've dyed your hair, with swollen eyes, a swollen face, an itchy face, scaling over the entire body or just the scalp. And that's a true allergic reaction you need to go to your dermatologist for.
I'm so glad you brought up the instructions, because if you do read all that little fine print, I mean, there are some serious warnings about hair dyes. Dr. Ingraham, are there certain types that are worse than others, like dark versus light, or even a brand that you would want people to stay away from?
That's a good question. What I have found is most over-the-counter hair dyes and most hair dyes in your hair salons contain PPD, paraphenylene dyeing, or a similar chemical called PTSD. The problem is it's very hard, unless you're a chemist, to read these little boxes. So what I recommend is, if you have found you are allergic, you do have a true allergic reaction where you get blistering, itching, swelling a few days after you dye, go online. There are sources that sell PPD-free hair dyes. Natural is not the answer. It has to be PPD-free. These are made of walnut and other pigments that actually stain the hair. And I have a lot of patients who order these. There are several websites that describe PPD allergies. So you want to look for PPD-free dyes. You could even take that dye to your salon if you wanted to let them use it there, or do it at home. But here's the catcher. Once you're allergic to PPD dye, you're always allergic to PPD dye. So you can't try it again. Another option is henna. Henna, pure vegetable henna, a lot of people can use instead of PPD dye. However, the problem is a lot of over-the-counter products with henna now contain PPD. So you need to make sure the henna doesn't contain PPD. And also, as an aside, there is a small subset of people who have a henna allergy. If you have a repeated allergy to hair dye, go to your allergist.
All right, Dr. Ingraham, good information this morning for our viewers. We appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you again soon with another important topic. Have a good rest
Thank
of your week.
you too.